Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pink Shade. It's Tuesday, and normally I have my girl Kimberly here from A Date with Dateline. But guess what, guys? She's finally getting her back fixed. She's going to get her back fixed. We're so excited for her. So instead, I asked my friend Chris DeRosa, who's a reality TV producer and has a fabulous podcast called Fixing Famous People, to join me. And he's not a connoisseur of the 90-Day Fiance, so this will be fun.
Back in the like OG 90 day, like I'm talking Paul and Carini, like that's
Ooh, dark.
like
Yeah.
that is what I bopped in on that for like the first season, but then after I was like, I can't do this anymore, and I'll explain why. But I at one time knew what I was talking about. Now I have no idea what I'm talking about. However, everyone buckle up because I'm about to like eviscerate this entire franchise. But sure.
So I asked you also to just dip in, just do a quick little dip in over there to Love in Paradise, because I really wanted you to get eyes on Sperm Kyle. I really need your feelings.
It's not great. It's
you understand he does this as a hobby, not he doesn't professionally go to a sperm bank and donate like we saw on Vanderpump Rules with Lala, where she has like the book. None of that. It's just like, hey, you need to get pregnant. I'll come over there. There's two ways we can do it. The natural way, or I could do it in a cup, but the natural way works better. I'll see you over there on whatever continent you live on.
That's, I mean, the fact that there isn't a docu-series about this man, like that's in a true crime fashion is astounding.
He has like 80 something children on like 6 continents or 3 or something. Like there is like YouTube footage of him walking around the streets of London or something being like, why wouldn't you want your baby to have American citizenship?
See,
so
this is like, but this is like those people. I mean, I feel like Cody Brown has a touch of this, which is like they desperately want to like be procreating. Like if they know that like a woman is like growing their child in them, that like makes them like so horny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he gets off on like the fact that like he can like impregnate people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
like
control.
This is like sexual for him. It's like sadistic. It's everything. It's wow. I wish I wouldn't have seen this, and so I'm upset with you that you made me watch.
Did you get eyes on Luke and Madeline? So he's 30, she's 19. And
not really. I try not as much.
Okay.
Tell me about them though.
Well, so he had a good job, and he's also an entrepreneur, but he really just looks like Broke Down Macklemore. Like he's always with like the fur coats and and the glasses.
I love that.
And he convinced her that he's this like trillionaire. And so he's bought her this like fabulous apartment in Colombia, and she's living like an amazing life. And he comes over to see her and stuff. And she opened a nail salon where she spelled beauty wrong. And that's not going to end well. She's not going to be thrilled when she finds out he did in fact lose his job and put like $10,000 into a sunglasses company. Like, yeah.
These shows. Okay, so when do you want me to start my thesis, like my college thesis about these shows? I can do it now because I feel like it's an appropriate time, or we can circle back.
Let's hear the college thesis now, and then we'll go into the episode that we're here to discuss. But let's go ahead and hear it. Yeah, go ahead.
These shows, from my 90 minutes of viewing this television program, these shows are about power. And like, it's actually not about relationships at all. It's about power and who is wielding power over who, and who is using this platform to the best of their ability or the worst of their ability is kind of what I think the show is more about. Because as I was watching, I was like, oh, we're still in this same scene that we were in with this couple like 75 minutes ago. Like we're still with what's her name, the girl that's speaking Spanish to the guy and his friends that are
Ashley and Manuel.
In they're like outside of the R train stop, like in Queens. Like they like that's all that the scene was for her. Like we never got out of that scene. Like the end of her storyline in this episode was her getting up from that same table that she was at in scene, like in act 1 of the show. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we actually see like 10 minutes of footage with and this is why I migrated away, because I was like, I am on it kind of has like the Bachelor disease where it's like nothing actually happens, but they stretch it out. And every time you tune back in with them, being told again for the 6th time within the same episode why they're upset with each other. And instead of actually like getting somewhere, we're just continuing to revisit the same problem and seeing like one more minute of footage of like them hashing out the problem.
Yes, and with this,
like we move at such a glacial pace that I'm just so not used to, and it's maddening.
Okay. So you're coming at it from a production standpoint where you're like,
Correct.
the ball is not moving forward. We're not kicking the can. It's just we're staying. Yes, and with a lot of these couples, we do just sort of go in a circle because they're having the exact same fight over and over and over again.
And it's like there's never a resolution. There's never like in our Bravo world, like we are like, okay, like at some point we need to get to this has to come to a head, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or in between. Like we either need to like put this to bed and not talk about it anymore, or just agree to disagree. And we need to just keep going because like we can't just rehash the same fight over and over and over again.
Right.
And I just don't feel that is what is being told here. And it's very hard for me.
Well, you didn't even get to see on this episode, Nicole and Mahmoud. You may have seen the preview for when he says you came home drunk at 2 and you lied. And so we will get divorced. They had been saying, each of them have been saying to each other, we will get a divorce. Now we're in the second country because we did it in Egypt already.
Oh, brother.
And now we're doing it in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is that it's like these people have now come to fame through the show. And so like the fact that Big Ed I watched Big Ed on my screen was the shock of the century. Did I not text you all capitals? Like what is happening? Like that was like a 4-alarm fire for me, knock on wood. But like, that was like a bridge too far that Big Ed was still on this franchise.
Yeah.
Pretending like he's snooking for love when he's like trying to get like ad money.
Yeah,
it is
totally. Yes.
Wild.
Yes.
And his scene is to show up to not a Starbucks to like break off his marriage to someone and never see them again. Like, huh? And again, like we see him arrive and then we're in that coffee shop for the entirety of him on this episode.
Yeah, you're so right.
It's wild.
You're so right.
Wild to me.
When you compare it to like Housewives, where we're getting in a 1 hour episode,
weeks of shooting,
we're getting like in 1 hour, we're getting 12 different parties, even if it's just like a launch your earring party.
Here's a dinner. No, here's like a dinner with 3 people. Then here's this. Then
yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we're getting B-roll in the house. Yes.
We're at someone's house. We're then at the party. We're then at the late night. Then we're at like someone change their kids' diapers. Then we're at this. Then we're almost too much in one episode. To this, I was like, this is why I can't do this. Like, it's how I always felt about The Bachelor. I was like, this could be a 30-minute show, but they've made it a 90-minute show for no reason. It's like you're always coming back from an interview being like, I really want to marry Gustavo, but it's hard because we like I want kids and he doesn't. And it's like, okay, you already told me this 3 times. So the fact that like we're now on time 8 of you telling me this, like I've got it. Like I understand why you and Gustavo don't want to aren't working out. Like now show me if it works out. And that's not what they're in the business to do. And that is what it is. And I have to.
You do production sometimes on other shows that aren't Bravo. So if you're doing things on other shows, do you get the same vibe where you're trying to bring that like, hey, we're doing Housewives and we're moving everything forward every episode? Or do you try to bring that to
everything
other
is different. Everything is different, but in this, there is a world in which I'm always feeling like, okay, what is the reason that I'm seeing this scene? If it's just see them fight about the same thing over and over again, like that's to me a loss. That's actually not a win, is to rehash the same thing. It's like, we need to have forward movement. Why is the scene important? And it doesn't seem like on these shows that that's what the point is. And I get that that's like, that is not what the point is. I do understand it. It's just crazy to me that like, you can watch this for years and not be like so frustrated that nothing ever gets resolved ever.
Yeah. And I'm usually
does anything ever get resolved? Does anything get resolved? I feel like the answer is no.
Not really. Yeah. No. But what they do is they roll them to a different season, right? So now we're in Happily Ever After. So these are retreads of people that have been on before the 90 days, Happily Ever After, possibly The Single Life, possibly The Therapy Show, possibly The Other Way. There are so many iterations. Love and Parabest. They just roll them. Roll them. Well, yeah, but
it's smart.
We get sick of people, and we'd like some fresh meat. We like do people for our eyeballs.
Well, and if they're gonna grow, and then they're gonna be single, and then they're gonna date, and then they're gonna do this, like that's fun. And then you're like reinvesting in the same person that you have come to learn.
Yeah, but Big Ed's like in that category,
but he's still there,
and we don't need him
when he was in what's it called? Yeah.
We don't need him.
I mean, I will say though, it is fascinating that it's like, it still is really truly like, it's either a person that's not an American using an American to get a green card and come to America, or it is an American using the like promise of a green card to become like basically their sex slave. Like it is like wild that is so, but like it is fascinating.
We do have a lot of sex tourists on this show, and we call them out. So yeah, when you and I were texting beforehand, I was like, you can feel free to eviscerate whatever.
I mean, it's fascinating. Like there's something about it that's crazy and amazing. And
there's a reason there's 100,000 iterations and it's on our TV every 4 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Where should we begin? I just need an overall note to just say that I wrote happily ever after ? And I said that question mark sums up my entire experience dipping into this show.
Yeah. They gave us a new logo this season 2, which is a little sort of ye old timey medieval fair type of logo. And it's really like, I don't need another logo because now I got to go find it and cut and paste it. And oh my God, I already had it on my phone.
No, I love the happily ever after question mark because it really is a question mark.
It's a question mark. Well, what they're doing with the titles is they are using nursery rhymes, and I'm obsessed with the titles on the TLC shows. So like right now in MILF Manor, we're doing like Milfa Mia and MILF Struck. She's all MILF. You know, we're doing that. So here what we're doing on this show, 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After, season 8, episode 9 is The Lovely Duckling. Last week we had Humpty got dumped.
Oh, brother.
And I guess we're talking about Big Ed looking like Humpty Dumpty and he got dumped. Yeah.
I mean, he looked, oh God, wow. Big Ed. Yeah. I couldn't even, that took me out like hard.
Yeah. So let's start with people that we do like and people who did meet organically and nobody's a sex tourist, and that's Emily and Kobe. We love them. I've met them in person at the TLC season 10 anniversary party in New York City. They are so wonderful. They've told me they want to have 5 kids. They are family people. You know, when he moved to the States to be with her, so they had met in China. She was there teaching English. He was in China as an underwear model. Okay.
Period.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, okay. See, I like them. And I was like, oh, they like actually want to be together. Like this to me seems like I was like, oh, they actually like really want to be together. This isn't like I'm trafficking in a wife or like
nobody's using anybody here.
Yes, I feel that it's real. Yes.
Yeah, it's very real. And they love each other and they've been married for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And when he first moved to the States, he had never met his child because on her second trip to China, she got pregnant. And then when she came back, it was COVID. And so she had this baby of his and that he never saw his baby who was 18 months old by the time.
See, I like that.
And he got over to the States to see the baby, and now they have 3 kids.
Yeah, and when I say I like that, I mean like it's compelling. Like not that I like love that he was like not in his child's life.
No,
I mean like that's compelling because they're like I physically can't see you, and I'm like birthing your child. That's wow.
Terrible.
Oh, they're in it. Okay, I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah,
I love
them. So
they
live in Salina, Kansas, and all this time up until they had this 3rd baby, they were literally living in the parents' basement, saving money. And so now that they've had the 3rd baby, they do have their own place, is my understanding. And he has a great job. He works for an asphalt company because his degree is in some sort of like engineering, and he does something with like he's in the lab, like making whatever. And she's a stay-at-home mom, and they are amazing. And the parents are great. Have you ever seen such good hair on a whole family? Like her mom's got the gorgeous hair. She's got the gorgeous hair. So they are preparing for the knock door, which it's been explained to us this is where his family comes over, knocks on the door, and they ask, they're saying Emily's going to give the hand in marriage, but then Emily's family needs to prepare the food for his family to welcome them to join the families. And then of course they will have to do the bride price and all this. You understand they are already married, have 2 children currently, have 3 now in real time. So this is all just tradition.
Sure.
Because they didn't get to do it before because obviously they couldn't travel. So she is going to make a Cameroonian meal for his whole family. And she says at home, like she loves to have dinner parties. She loves to have people over. She makes a mean meatloaf. Of course, she doesn't know how to make this food, but she wants to learn. And we don't get this much on this show. A lot of times people go over to these other countries and they see something and they're like, oh, gross. They're so insulting to the other cultures. But she's like, no, I mean, of course, it's not something
No.
I would normally eat, but okay, I'm here. I'm going to do it.
My notes are love Kobe's sister. And then
Cute.
loved her. Like, and she was like, oh, I'll teach you how to do this. And then I wrote, hate the trope of, oh my God, you eat this. Americans are fat pigs with zero culture. And I wrote, like, I'm glad that she's embracing. Like,
She's
because so many
embracing.
times on these shows, they're like, wait, what? I remember the one guy went over to be with that woman in like the Philippines, and they like spent every dollar that they had on like a pig to like roast under the ground, which PS looked great. And he was like horrified by it. And it's like, it's pork, you fucking loser. And he was like disgusted. And basically she was like, my family saved up for like months to give this to you, and you like won't eat it. Like, eat it, you little pussy ass bitch.
Yeah,
and
just
like
at least pretend.
And then spit it out. And he like wouldn't do it. And I was like, you Americans are so weak. But like, I hate even like whatever it is. I'm like, I hate whenever they're like, ew, ugh. It's like, one, that's horrible. And two, like, this is what you signed up for. You know what I mean? You wanted to date someone from another country. This is what it is. Like, what's good. So I love that she's embracing.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm going to figure out it. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like, okay, we're going to figure it out.
Yes, and she's like, and we'll eat it, and you know, and even if we don't like it, we will have manners and pretend that we do.
Yeah, and it's also like, oh, I want to be with you, but only until it like minorly inconveniences me that I like have to step out of my comfort zone for 5 seconds. I'm like not gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you want to have this unbreakable bond with each other, but then you won't like invest in their culture. I don't know. It's just very strange to me.
Yeah,
anyway,
you expect. Yeah, if you come to America, you have to do everything for me, but I'm doing nothing for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I did see Pringles on the counter in the kitchen, and that made me laugh. So Kobe goes in the kitchen with mom, Lisa, and was like, let me show you what we have. And he shows her, it's like literally like the epidermis. It's like a thick epidermis, cow's skin and all the layers. And she's like, oh God, it smells, Kobe. He's laughing because he knows she's going to be grossed out. He's doing it to gross her out. And David comes in and goes, okay, what's that? And she goes, this is the cow skin. We're going to put it in the stew. And he's like, oh Jesus. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Interesting. All right. So the sister and Kobe is so fun and funny. He just laughs because he knows he's like giving it to him.
Yeah, he's like, these white idiots. They're gonna like, he's like, they don't even know what they're in for, which I love. He thinks
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So Kobe's sister, her name is Francisca, arrives, and there's 10 siblings in Kobe's family. So his sister Francisca arrives to give Emily cooking lessons. And I guess Emily's never met her in person. They've only met like on video chat. So she was excited to meet her in person. And she brings a chicken foot, and they all are like, oh my God. And they're all like screaming and laughing. But she shows Emily how to do it. And Emily's like, I want to make sure the bones get out. Like, let me show you. And she wants to be sure that his family really loves her because his friends, this is a whole thing you haven't seen. His friends don't like her. They think she's a bossy American, and they think she's disrespectful to Kobe because she talks back or she gives her opinion. And
there should be like seen and not heard, basically, right?
They don't like that.
Yeah.
And she has said, like, I understand that I'm not a Cameroonian woman. I am an American woman, and this is the way I am, but I'm trying to be respectful of your culture, but you're not being respectful of me at all.
Like I have, yeah.
So that's a problem with the friends. So,
but that's like just like worlds of difference. You know what I mean? That's not like a thing. Yeah. That's just like a cultural thing. That's like, is what it is. That's not
it's never going to change.
Yeah. That is what it is. Yeah.
He did tell her before they went over there. He goes, I want you to be yourself, just like a little bit less.
Yeah. But like
just take it down a notch. So Emily's parents come over and they're discussing the knock door, which is the ceremony they're going to have. And David goes, okay, I'm excited. Like I've researched it. And we've seen this on the show many times about the bride price and what it is. No, and 90 Day UK was fascinating. They had a bride price and the list it was pages and pages and went on for days.
P.S. We still have this today. It's that the bride's father pays for the wedding.
That's right.
That's all that is. Like, where do you think that came from?
Yeah.
That's what I don't like is that the parents were like, we don't like this. I was like, bitch.
No. Just mom said it. Dad didn't say it.
But like, that's what, like, we have that in America. It's just that the dad's, like the bride's dad pays for the wedding. That's the dowry.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's
true. It's just called something different here. And so David goes, okay, Kobe, I got my list. And he's like, okay. Kobe's all excited.
Dad was, I love that the dad was like, a goat. He was like, you can have it afterwards, but I just want you to give me one. Like, so funny. Yeah.
So funny. And Kobe's like, I'm really happy that he researched this. Mm-hmm. And David says, okay, I'm going to ask for a goat. He goes, we can't take it home with us on the plane, so we'll just leave it here with you. And he says, a liter of palm oil, because, that's something that they use here. Of course, again,
Yeah.
he'll leave it there. And he goes, I could use an umbrella. It's
I mean, no,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
fun. Like,
Yeah.
you know
And
what I mean? That's fun.
he goes, and I want one of those wooden canes and I want 2 African shirts. And
Funny.
Kobe is laughing. He was like, that's great. And I'm so glad he did his homework. And then Kobe says, but you also, in that document, you need to say the bride price. And mom goes, I really don't like that. Like, I don't like that. And Kobe goes, well, it's just the tradition. You have to honor the tradition. And dad goes, yeah, we'll just write something down there. And Lisa goes, but I mean, what would the price be? Like, it's like I have to come up with a price to sell my daughter. And she looks at her husband and goes, you don't have a problem with this? And he says, no, I really don't. It's culture and tradition. Like, I'm going to have them give me a goat. Like, what? I'm not going to take a goat on the airplane home. Like, obviously, we're just doing
No, and
this
like
for the
obviously they're not
culture.
gonna or they won't even really take the money. They'll just do it because they said
It's
that they
yeah, it's not like a thing. And he goes, it's and then Kobe explains, like, in our culture, if you don't do it and you don't pay the bride price, then the ancestors, will curse us. And she says, what do you mean, like curse all of us? And she goes, no, like me and Emily and our children will be cursed. And that's what we believe in our culture. And so she was like, well, I don't really like that. And I have to think about my decision. And everybody else is looking at her like, well, it's 6 against 1 here.
yeah.
But Kobe says, well, if we don't do it, there'll be no wedding. Like, you can't just do some of it. You have to do all of it. You have to do the knock door. You have to present them with food. Like, you got to do the whole thing. And as we see next week, of course, they do the whole thing. And it's going to be incredible. Whenever we see these African weddings and the dancing and stuff, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. The costumes, and it's, oh God, same thing. If you see a wedding in India, oh my God, it just goes on for days and it's just so many outfits. And I just love it. I want to be invited to an Indian wedding so bad. Okay. Now let's go into Sophie and Rob. Now, what you don't know about Sophie and Rob is that in real time here as we speak, there's a lot of news going about them on the Instagram, because she's got a mother that is horrible. And we didn't even find out in their season together when they were before the 90 days. We didn't find out until they just started this season, Happily Ever After, that the mom, who we've always been like, something's off with her. Well, now we find out she's a lifelong addict. She's been sober for a while, but she was a terrible mother to Sophie growing up. And she's trying to kind of come in now and give her opinion, now that Sophie's, grown up and
Oh.
married. And her opinions are right, by the way. Rob is pretty horrible, but lots of things we found out Sophie has lied out about too. She said she's bisexual, but she's never acted on it. And she just sort of realized it. But then she told her friend, yeah, I've dabbled around with women. So she doesn't always tell the truth herself. And then she's got this terrible mother. So the news that was about them this week is that her mom, Claire, released these videos that Sophie sent her a couple of years ago when she and Rob were really in a bad place and fighting, of Rob like yelling at Sophie, verbally abusing her. So Sophie's mom, Claire, put these on Instagram and said, my daughter's with this abusive asshole, da 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 da, tagged everywhere. So all the 90-day news
Everyone picked
outlets
it up.
picks it
Yeah.
up. So then Sophie has to post the texts that go between her and her mom, where her mom is threatening to kill herself and to kill Sophie, to come over there and slit her throat and calling her a C word, her own daughter.
Oh God.
Next thing you know, mom has gotten arrested for terroristic threats against the family.
Oh, brother.
So that's what's happening with these two. It's a lot.
That's bad.
It's a lot. So she is still with Rob and they are still in Austin. So these two lovebirds go to therapy. They talk to the therapist how they met, how they got married. She's from England, whatever. And then she says, like, because he's 32 and I'm 24. And he's like, well, I'm 33.
3, yeah, doesn't know his age.
I turned 33 8 months ago.
Because
She's
you
like,
just turned 33. He's like, yeah, 8 months ago.
now, in her defense, she did move out for a couple of months. So,
Yeah.
she says, sometimes our age is a problem because I still like to kind of go out. He doesn't really like to do that. And we argue, we bicker a lot. And I have trust issues with him due to the online cheating. The times they were apart, she found out he was like messaging with some Instagram hoes or whatever and like getting videos and stuff. He was never sending anything back, but he was like, yeah, I like that. Send me some more. Because he's like an Instagram model type or whatever.
Well, and it's very apparent that like he probably did that to her and was like, oh my God, you're so hot. Like, let's fuck. And she was like, okay. And then they ended up getting on the show. And like,
mhm.
it's like this should have been someone that you just like banged and then was said goodbye to. But instead now you get on this show and then you have to be together if you want to continue it. And it's like all of her dreams are coming true because she's like now an Instagram model.
Right.
But now he wants more. And when she was like, you like bodybuilder girls, and he was horrified by that and like spent the whole rest of the episode like defend again. We don't see them even like after this, like they end the scene in the like maybe they go in the car afterwards, like after they're out of therapy. Like we never see them like at home. I don't think like it's like they're in that therapy session the whole episode.
You're right. And it's a 2-hour episode.
Like maddening.
Yeah, you're right. You're so right. I just never picked up on that.
Like,
you're right.
Oh my God. Like, it's like, now I need the fallout of that. Now you should talk outside of the therapy session and find out what, like, we never get past a scene.
You're right.
In the 2 hours that we're watching this.
You're right.
And when he is like, in that interview, like, I like girls like Sophie. I don't like muscular girls. I'm not gay. I was like, oh, brother.
I'm
like,
not gay.
I was like, you wanted to like, you love to like message girls on Instagram and be like, yeah, like you fucking sexy bitch, like blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah,
that's what he likes to do. And then he wants like, and then now he got one and then he's stuck with her. And now he has to be with her on TV because now they make so much money.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. That's what
this is. Their second show to be on.
To me.
Yeah.
Right.
So, this message is sponsored by Greenlight. As your kids get older, some things about parenting get easier, but others don't, like conversations about money. The fact is, kids won't really know how to manage their money until they're actually in charge of it, and that's where Greenlight can help. You guys, both of my kids had Greenlight cards when they were younger, and I have to tell you, it was a complete game changer because they felt cool because they had their own card. And then they could also use the app to see what was going on. And then I could use the app to assign them tasks and chores and then give them allowance for it. It was really, really great. Greenlight is a debit card and a money app. It's made for families. Parents can send money to their kids and keep an eye on the kids' spending and saving, while the kids and teens build money confidence and lifelong financial literacy skills. With the app, kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely thanks to games that teach money skills in a fun, accessible way. The app also includes a chores feature, which I used a ton, where you can set up one-time or recurring chores. My kids had like every Sunday, it was John's turn to do the trash. Every Wednesday, it was Anna's turn to do the trash, or something like that. And I gave them like $1 or $2 for it, but they wanted to make sure they did it because that money went right into their account. Then they could also, at the end of the week, decide how much to save. It was great, you guys. It was so great for my kids. Millions of parents and kids are learning about money on Greenlight. It's the easy, convenient way for parents to raise financially smart kids and for families to navigate life together. Sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/pinkshade. That's greenlight.com/pinkshade. Try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/pinkshade. So of course he's like, typical, she's going to bring up that online cheating. Well, yeah, you're in therapy and you were online cheating on her. So of course she's going to bring it up. The therapist needs to know the root of your problem is this. This is where all the problem starts from. And then all their other problems stem from it.
And the root of the problem is that you don't actually want to be in a relationship. You want to be like texting these people and you just happen to fall into this relationship that's now on TV. That's your problem.
I think that's a great point.
Like if there wasn't a monetary like value for them being together, they wouldn't be together. Period.
Yeah, she would have left.
Right.
So he says, he just wants her to dress up to have sex. And she has talked about this before. Like he always wants me to dress up. And he says, I just want her to wear like a Velma from Scooby-Doo costume or like a maid costume, like it's hot. And he says, we haven't had sex in a really long time. And now it's like a wall that's up. And she moved out 3 months ago. She just got back home. And she goes, I moved out because I found out you were still flirting with the girls online, even though that was the problem we had initially. And that makes me feel bad about myself because the women that you like don't look like me. You like these muscular fitness type. And he's like, it's not bodybuilder, like fitness model. Okay. But it's not bodybuilder. It's not like fetish shit. Like, it's like totally normal porn. Like,
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Totally
Mary
normal
Payne,
porn.
I was screaming. I was like, you've never seen a person caught so badly in their life. Like he was like, when I watch porn, it's normal. Like I was like, porn. That's what someone says that is in like, he wants like a woman to like drop a weight on his like penis. You know what I mean? Like that's like, Like that is what he wants. And instead he's like, no, what? Like not at all. Like he wants like a woman to lift him up over his head and like break his back on her knee. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like in like a WWE
yes.
drop. You know what I mean? That's like what I wrote Sophie calling it a hoe phone, dying. Whenever she's like, there was a phone ringing.
She's trying to find the phone.
P.S. Why don't we have footage of her trying to find the phone? Even if
we do. Last week she was looking around for it.
Okay, good. Yeah. I was like, that's criminal that we don't have like her with like a magnifying glass, like looking around the house. Like that's
no, she was reaching behind his collection of tarantulas.
Love it.
She was like, he has tarantulas and he would have put it back there because I wouldn't reach back there.
Tarantulas. Oh, he's disgusting. Okay.
Let me tell you what happened with that phone. And you tell me from a production standpoint what you think happened. So the two of them were on the bed. They were doing a scene and he was giving her breakfast and he had put her engagement ring that she took off when she left. He had put it in like some mozzarella cheese or something for breakfast. It was weird. So she's like,
brother, why is he doing this?
She's like, I hate cheese, but okay. And then she was like, this is not even my ring. Like he found like a costume jewelry ring. She was like, this is not even like my diamond ring. He's like, yeah, it is. She's like, okay. So they're filming that scene. And in that scene, a phone starts ringing. It's like vibrating. And in her mind, she goes, it sounds like it's like in the sheets, in the bed. They look around and he pulls up his phone and he shows it's on airplane mode. He goes, my phone's on airplane mode. It's not his phone, but it's going, And she's like, my phone's in the kitchen. It's off. And then you hear, connect to the Bluetooth speaker. You hear, hey, this is Rob. Leave a message. Da, da, da. Now, nobody leaves a message. But if you think about it, it's his outgoing message. So a phone in that room had to have been calling his phone in order for us to hear the outgoing message. If it was his phone ringing, you wouldn't hear the outgoing message. So my theory is that somebody, a production assistant, probably a hot bodybuilder girl, has his secret phone number and was calling him, and then her phone connected to his Bluetooth because they're always in that house, and that's how we heard his outgoing message.
Or they know that it happened and they can't recreate it, so they do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it happened, but they can't, like she can't, like they can't prove it or whatever. I don't know.
The outgoing message is what threw us off. We're like,
that's strange.
Yeah.
But that's so like convoluted. Like I would never do that because I'd be like, this is too hard to like prove. Like it's too much.
So then she starts looking at, he's got a secret phone. He's got a home phone.
Okay. Here, I have to go to this now. I quote from him. I was looking for a down-to-earth person. I wrote in all capitals. What about Sophie says down to earth? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I choked.
She has like eyelash extensions within the like that are shovels. She's like
she has on a wig because her hair is brown.
A full wig that is like she desperately wants to be like an Instagram model. Like
she is an Instagram model.
Is sure. Thank you. And like nothing about the person I'm seeing in front of me, and she's wearing like a two-piece little cute Instagram model outfit. That is not down to earth. That's not down to earth.
Yeah. No. Nope. She's very bougie. He talks about it all the time. Yeah. And he says what he really likes is Sophie's body. And what he really wants is Sophie. And because he can't have Sophie, he watches
because
totally
she doesn't
normal
do
porn.
Weird, because she doesn't do like weird role play with him. He's like disinterested.
Yeah. Well, we think he's just like a full-on porn addict.
No, yeah. Sure. Like, okay. But then like that's your problem, not that your message, I don't know. There's just so many. It's like you don't actually want to be together. Neither of you want to be together. You're stuck together because you're making money from being a person of interest on this show.
You're right.
I wrote, this Sophie girl needed a way to get on TV, and marrying this loser man was her way. Now she's trapped having to be with him to stay on TV. It's really sad.
That's a very good. You broke it down after just one episode.
And like we got nowhere within the scene. Like we get nowhere.
He is nice to her at the end because the therapist says it's super easy to express anger, but it's harder to like be calm and be vulnerable and speak nicely. And she goes, I feel insecure. You never say anything nice to me. You say, you look nice. And he goes, yeah, I do. And she goes, well, try right now. And so he gives her a bunch of compliments. And then he smiles and goes, and she goes, could you do that every day or like every other day?
And he's like, absolutely not. I want to kill myself.
He's like, that was really hard for me. Yeah. And he's like, I can say I really love your fat ass, but I don't know what like PG-13 shit you want to hear.
Well, that's the other thing is that he wants to basically like cat call her. That's like his, like his version of that is being like, I want to like fuck you over a banister. That's like what
Yes.
his version of like, you look pretty is.
Yes. And
Which again, roots back to their whole problem of like, they should have just banged it out for like a weekend in like Puerto Vallarta and then never seen each other ever again.
They lived together in Mexico for a month.
Then
go.
They should have parted ways to never speak again.
I agree.
But now here we are.
And then she says she'll dress up like a bunny. And she said, and he goes, ooh, Christ. A bunny. And she goes, just buy me the outfits. I'll wear them. Okay. So he kisses her, but we haven't seen them kiss on the lips in seasons. So that was a step.
Oh, and she was like, she desperately didn't want to do it, but was like, I need to stay on. Again, was like, I am now shackled to this man to stay on TV, so I must kiss him. And it's like the last thing I want to do in my life.
And also it's going to ruin my expert lip job.
Correct. Sure.
We're not going to really talk about Loren and Alexi because it's, warning, graphic video of surgery, warning. And she gets done with her surgery. That's all that happens. She's on drugs. They go to a hotel. It's going to be a long, hard recovery.
We don't even hear a word from her. She's like under anesthesia the whole time. And then she's like crying at the end whenever she's like coming out of anesthesia and is like clearly in so much pain. No one on these shows are ever on the same page about like anything, let alone like major life altering surgeries. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
They're not on the same page about like the color, their favorite color, let alone like I said, what did I write down? I wrote, why are all these people getting BBLs? None of these people are building lives together. They're together to be on the show to get free surgeries.
Okay. No. Okay. Now Loren and Alexi have been together 10 years.
Okay.
They met.
Okay. That changes things a little bit.
Okay. They have 3 children. She had 3 children in 4 years. So this is why she's getting this mommy
so she's
makeover.
Like, I'm wrecked. Oh,
she's like, I'm done. Yes. They met when he lived in Israel and was a medic. And she was a tour guide for a birthright trip. And they met and they were like, it was supposed to be like a hookup, but look, here we are. We actually got married. He's an American citizen now.
That changes a lot, actually.
Okay.
The fact that it's a mommy makeover and not her just like trying to look like
it's a mommy makeover.
A Kardashian is actually I'm into that.
No, she was doing a mommy makeover because she's got these 3 kids under 4. Yeah. Okay, now we'll go to your favorite couple, Ashley and Manuel. So, Manuel, what do you think? I think he's hilarious and I think he's hot. So there's that. He's really grown on me. This is also their 2nd season.
It's just like, okay, here's the thing. Wait, I had a really good note. Hold on. Okay, I wrote, okay, I've cracked it. They fall in love online and then they get on the show and then in person, their relationship doesn't work. But if they break up, then they're off the show, period. Like they fall in love on their phones, right? Like,
okay, now here's how they met. He's from Ecuador. She was in Ecuador on like a beach week trip or something 10 years ago. They dated at that time for a couple of years, broke up for like 6 years, just got back together after they each had a breakup. So they've been back together at this point, like 2 years, but he moved from Ecuador here to marry her, has 2 children, didn't tell the children, didn't tell his mom, didn't tell the baby mama, told no one, just moved here and got married. And he's like, surprise, I'm married and I'm staying in the States now.
No, no.
Yeah, but they've known each other a long time.
But in what world does that work?
So that's why when you talk about the trust issues, you're like, what did he do for these trust issues? He's never cheated or anything. The trust issues is he still has not introduced his wife to his children.
And like, would you want to be married to someone who left their entire family behind just to be with you? Like, no. Right.
And so the funniest thing is though, so she lives in Rochester and then he's got this tons of family in New York. And she's just finding out like, you've got all this family in New York. I mean, it's starting to get a little sus, because when you find out they have family close by, then you're like, oh, you're going to leave me to go be with your family.
Here's what I'm saying. It's like, how do you know you've been with him off and on for a decade? How do you not know anything about him? How's that possible? Because you actually didn't care to learn anything about him. You just wanted him. I feel like these people are looking for some kind of companionship, and that companionship isn't a person. It's like a text. It's a text. Like I remember being on back in the day, I was like on dating apps, and it was like you would be like talking to someone on a dating app, and that person could be anyone, and it was like you started to be like, oh yeah, this person seems great, and blah blah, and you're with them, and then you meet them in person, and like that doesn't translate to being in real life. And these people, like, they can't get that through their head. Like the person they see on Instagram is not the person that's in front of them. And that's not looks or anything. It's just like, I can be whoever I want when I'm like texting, let alone like when
Yes.
I'm in front of you as a person. And so it's
Yes.
like when your entire relationship is like through your phone, it's like you're not building anything real. It's all just like a smoke and mirrors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
It's
if
like I
that's
used to
not,
tell my
even
kids,
if
like
it's,
stranger danger, you know?
and even if it's
Yes.
not like completely true, where you're like, oh no, they actually met in person. It's like, yes, but then you have like that dream of them. And it's like, when you're not like with them during the like, we're doing laundry day, you know what I mean? It's just the
Yes.
highlight reel. Then it's like when you actually like are really with this person and then you settle down with them and then you're like, oh wait, who are you? What? Like,
Yeah.
you're not just this
Well,
person that says I'm beautiful when I send a picture of myself to them,
right. Well,
you
it's like what
know?
we say, you don't marry your vacation bank,
No,
Right.
that's this whole show.
That's the whole show. That's the whole show. And there are exceptions, right? There are people
Yeah,
that have been together a long time, but that's why this is happily ever after because all these couples are already married, but that's why there's a
yeah.
question mark because most of them aren't happy. So Manuel and his buddy Jonathan's around a lot, and they meet up, and Ashley is like, I don't know. I don't even want to talk to him. Now, here's what happened. The morning before that morning or the morning before, whatever, she woke up and he was gone from their hotel room. No text, no nothing. And she's like, where are you? Where are you? And eventually he said, I'm with Jonathan having breakfast. Well, she got mad because he just left the room and didn't say where he was going. And that's fine. He should have just sent a text, "Hey, I'm having breakfast with Jonathan." His whole thing is she never leaves him alone. And so he's always, every time he does anything, she's like, I want to go. I want to go. And he just wants to go and like have fucking drink or breakfast with his buddy without her around all the time. So they're both right, but they're also both wrong because he could
Sure.
really just fix this by not ding, 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 sneaking out of the hotel room while she's dead asleep. He probably took one step and waited 5 minutes and another step and waited 5 minutes. He was sneaking out of that room so she wouldn't know because he just wants to just sit and have a burrito, a breakfast burrito with his friend. You know what I mean? Like in a cup of coffee.
Well,
So
but like,
that's why they're in a fight.
no, they're in a fight. And then also he's like, also my entire, she in the back of her mind is like, oh, his entire family, he like walked out on for me and now he's doing it to me.
Yes, of course. And her family is like, this shit is sus. So,
Yeah.
and by the way, her job, she's a witch.
I
So,
love that.
yeah, she's a witch.
I love that.
For $4,000, you can get her services.
Stop.
Yes. So, I can't tell if this is fake because like Manuel is smiling a lot, and so is Jonathan. And I don't know if they're like high or what the problem is, but probably they're high. And the problem is they need to communicate. And he says, he's like, she says, just let me know where you are. And then if we just talk, then we won't have these problems. And he's like, I don't want you to tag along everywhere. Like, I just want you to trust me that I'm going to have breakfast with Jonathan. I need to be able to see my friends. She's like, but my feelings are hurt and I have trust issues from the past with the whole thing about he always, no matter what she says, she'll say, what about this? Oh, your aunt and your uncle are in Newark? And he'll go, none of your business. Oh, you want me to send your kids $300? Why? What do they need it for? None of your business. She's like, I'm sending money to your family, and then you're telling me 1 month it's 100, the next month it's 300. Like, that's my money, and like I need to know because he can't work yet. So she's crying to
But
Jonathan's.
that
I
is
mean,
just like, no. Like
mhm.
what?
He can't work yet. So we have a lot of this happening where
Oh
the person
God.
can't work for the first 3 or 6 months.
Yeah.
Even after they get married, they can't work till
No,
they get
sure. It's like, yeah, yeah,
their
yeah,
work
yeah.
visa or whatever. And that
Understood.
causes a problem because then the American is having to foot the bill for everything. And that causes stress because if you haven't planned for that, now you're supporting 2 people instead of 1, you know? So Jonathan says, if you each always stay on your side, you're never going to solve it. Nobody ever moves an inch. Nobody tries to
Yeah.
communicate. And the conclusion of this is you're both to blame. And Manuel says, I did nothing wrong and she'll never apologize to me. She never listens to me. And he's like, you take no responsibility for your actions. And literally, since last season to this season, it's the exact same conversation over and over and over.
I
It
see that's no,
never moves.
goodbye. Can't deal with that. I can't deal with that. Like
They went to
that.
therapy and he told the therapist, none of your business.
Yeah.
Like,
But also no, then it's on her. Like, why are you still with this person?
yeah. Yeah.
There's a whole world full of mediocre men out there that don't have families that they've left to be with.
You're right. You're right. Another thing a problem they have is they usually fight a lot and then they bang it out. They bang it out like 4 or 5 times a day.
Oh, that's see, well, there we go.
They bang it
Now
out in public.
everything why didn't you tell me this first? That
Yeah.
makes that there we go.
They bang it out at a coffee shop. If they have a fight,
I
they
can't
go,
deal
they're
with
like,
that.
"We'll be right back," and they go bang it out
Oh,
in the
so they
bathroom, and
love
everything's
it.
fine. Yeah,
They fucking love it.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
god. Yeah,
So
that's
he knows
amazing.
that the minute he got in that van and left, when he was joking, like, "I'm leaving with my
She's
wife.
gonna
She's
yeah,
my boss." It's gonna
yeah.
be a BJ in the van.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dear God in heaven. Oh, that's a whole nother level.
You guys know that I have some experience with the weight loss shots. When I did the weight loss shots, I lost about 30 pounds in 6 to 7 months. I also really cut down the alcohol by a ton. I started eating a lot cleaner and started walking my dogs twice a day. It was super successful for me. And I wish the Row Body program had been around when I was on that journey a couple of years ago. Row Body provides access to the most popular weight loss shots on the market. The Row Body program pairs a weekly shot with healthy lifestyle changes so you can lose 15 to 20% of your weight in a year on average and actually keep it off, which is like me. That is what I have done. Over 200,000 people have already chosen Row to help them lose weight. The program members have support throughout the process. Row's partner handles all the insurance paperwork and all that stuff to help it get covered. And if you're eligible, patients will have access to the provider on demand for any questions, which would have been great when I was doing it because sometimes you can't get anybody to help you. You can sign up online for the comfort of your own home, and this means no scheduling a doctor's appointment, no commute to the doctor's office, no waiting rooms. Waiting rooms are my freaking nightmare. Average weight loss is 15 to 20% in 1 year with healthy lifestyle changes. BMI and other eligibility criteria apply. You're going to go to row.co/pink shade. Sign up today and you'll pay just $99 for your first month and $145 a month after that. Medication costs are separate. That's row.co/pink shade, ro.co/pink shade. So Ed and Liz, so usually we just skip right over them. But here's what happened. They meet at a coffee shop. She doesn't want to end the relationship. She wants to stick it out through the hard times. She has moved from San Francisco to Arkansas for him. That's quite a move.
The fact that anyone is doing anything for him after he repeatedly, and I have not watched him in years, but like I can only imagine the things that he's done on these shows.
He's horrible.
I mean, the fact that someone wants to marry him and he's telling them no is wow.
He's been married before and he has a 25-year-old
Yeah, he has like
kid.
kids. I remember I
Yeah.
watched his like first season of like, it wasn't it like The Other Way or whatever. I don't remember what it was.
Yes,
like,
because he was going over with Rose, who was like
yes,
21 and lived in the Philippines. Yeah.
and hated and was disgusted by him.
Yes. And he told her, you need to shave your legs and you need to brush your teeth. And I was
And
like,
he was like, why won't we sleep together? And she's like, no.
she's like, you told me I have bad breath and hairy legs, and take a look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Little potato.
You don't have a neck. Yeah.
No neck. So Liz just wants to be with Ed. And she was like, he goes, look, I'm going to be totally honest. I think I've been looking for an excuse to end this. And she was like, look, I could have found out a different way other than like you called the officiant who's your friend and then he called me. Like you should have told me. And he goes, yeah, I mean, they've broken up 1,000 times. And he says, I know I don't handle things well. I know I didn't handle this well. And I just need to be single and work on myself and work on my career. And then she was like, you're going to find somebody else and be the best version of yourself. And I put that work in and it's not going to be with me. I was like, who cares?
Stop you right there, honey. You know what? He won't. It's okay.
Look,
he absolutely won't be doing that. So it's fine.
He said, I'll always be an asshole. And he laughs.
I haven't seen the man in what, 6 years, 5 years. And he was exactly the same person he was when he was in the freaking Philippines.
He's disgusting. So when they're sitting in this talking head together, he says, I found myself falling out of love with her, but I wanted to take the least painful approach. And she goes, well, this was not the least painful approach for you to cancel the wedding.
I loved that they got them in a double interview together after this scene. I was like, that's amazing.
And it's like, it looks like the movie Twins with Schwarzenegger and DeVito. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. So then he's like, we have time left on the lease and I just want to be cordial with you and Riley. That's her daughter. And, you're young. And if you ever meet anybody like me, just run. And she's like, I don't want to meet anybody else. And we're like, why? All right, let's go through Patrick and Thais. Not much happens with these two. These two have been together for a long time, are married, have been married for a couple of years, and have this adorable baby. But what's great about this couple is Patrick has a brother, John, who's now been on a spinoff on The Single Life, and he is television gold. He has this Boston accent. He's like, what? He's like, no matter what you ask me, I was like, I don't know. So John is the star of this, but we've got Patrick and Thais because they're the original couple. So they're packing up their stuff and headed to the apartment. And he goes, yeah, I think it went well with your dad. And she goes, no, it didn't. You just have to ask for the blessing to get married. You're just being disrespectful. He's like, oh, we've been married for 2 years and have a baby. And I think that's stupid that I would now have to ask for the blessing. By the way, it's completely her fault because she also left Brazil, told her dad she was coming to visit Patrick and had a job, and fully was on the K-1 visa and married him. And then told him afterwards. So
Wait,
it's her
which
fault.
which one is this? I can't remember them.
So Patrick is like the bodybuilder looking, and he had the big
Yeah,
brace on his leg,
really small head, and he really big body. Yeah.
yes,
Okay, I'm with them again.
he was an Olympic weightlifter, whatever is that called when you like do the most weight.
Yeah.
And he got disqualified from the Olympics for steroid use.
What you don't say.
Yeah. And so now he and his brother run some sort of like installing alarm companies, whatever. He's got a lot of money.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm not doing that. Like we've been married 2 years. Like we've been together 6 years.
Oh, and the whole P.S. The whole thing of them in the episode is them in a car ride.
Right. In the car.
The only time we get them on a big body camera is like when they're like bringing their luggage into the apartment and they're like mad at each other and then it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
And so he goes, I don't know why I need to talk to this guy. We have no relationship. He hates me. And she goes, it's important to me and you're being selfish.
Which again is that not a humongous red flag that like everyone in this person's family like hates their partner? Like that's like never good. It's never good. Like
it is her fault that she lied. She lied to her dad. And so that's not Patrick's fault. He was like, why didn't you just tell your dad we're getting married?
But regardless, it's like that's never breeding like a great relationship.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
it started off on a bad foot.
Yeah.
So he was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't feel good about that. And he's like, all right, look, John just arrived. So that's his brother. He's come in town to do this, celebration party for the baby and stuff. He's like, John just arrived. So I'm going to go meet up with him. And she's like, it's my birthday and you're going to go meet up with your brother. And she was like, I'm just upset, that you wouldn't give me the time. And she's pissed and goes, I'm taking the baby. And he goes, take the dog. And she's like, it's your baby too. You take the dog. By the way, when we saw Thais like 2 seasons ago on a different show, zero English, not a word.
Oh, and now
she's fluent.
Yeah, good.
She's killing it. We love her.
Good for her.
All right, Jasmine and Gino have been on our TV for 1,000 years, and we hate them. And we hate them, but we love them.
This is the beauty pageant woman with alopecia. Oh, I can't even deal with them.
They have been on so many seasons, Chris. So many seasons.
To go in like 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll make it fast.
Yeah, we'll fly through this. Yeah.
So they're in Miami. She's going to a beauty pageant workshop led by Leandro's friend Willina. Willina is the winner of Miss International World Supermodel. Let's get all the words and throw them together on a sash. Okay. Basically,
wait. Note, you're gonna die. My note is, why is every scene about these people's lives being horrible? This support group about alopecia? Question.
No, it's a support group for being
I know.
Miss International World Supermodel.
I was so confused by them. I was like,
this is so stupid. Everything about them is
no
fake.
matter what, it's like there's always some doom and gloom. Like she's like, I want to be a beauty pageant queen. She's P.S. stunning.
Of course she is.
She's incredible. Body, cute, beautiful. And it's like somehow there has to be this thing where she's like, I'm like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know what I mean? Like even when they're beautiful, there has to be something where they like feel that they're like a piece of garbage. And it's like, it can never be her being like, I think I'm going to win. Like it's always like I'm overcoming a mountain, but in reality, I'm just in a random scene where like it takes 95 years for me to get through this scene.
She's incredibly gorgeous. Their storyline last season was she used her wedding dress money to get a BBL. So he was mad.
What was my note earlier? Why is everyone getting a BBL?
He was mad at her about that.
Right.
So yeah. So she makes Jazz Maritas, which was kind of funny. And
I love that. Wanted one.
She tells him, she really doesn't want to have a baby right now because she's going to be in Miss International World Supermodel. And then what if she's pregnant? And it didn't seem to matter. And I think you have to pay to be in and also win this contest. And she doesn't want to tell Gino. This is all fake. She has 2 kids in Panama that she left in Panama, and she's trying to get them over, but it's going to be like 2 years. So
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like a whole thing. Yeah.
he's 54. You think he wants to start over with the baby and then
No,
like 11-year-old and 12-year-old? Come on.
no.
It's not true.
Well, it's just like a good way to like have something to be like, will this happen? Question mark. You know?
So that's the end. And let me just tell you what's going to happen next week really quick. In Brazil, Patrick and Thais have a baby shower / party for baby Elise. And John's like, so far, so good. And we see Emily and Kobe's wedding. She looks incredible. It looks great. I guess they paid the bride
I'm into
price.
that. My last note was like, Kobe and this girl, I have faith in them. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, they've been together a long time.
Yeah.
So Sophie and Rob go to a sex shop. This is maybe the 3rd trip to a sex shop.
Here we go.
To.
That's where they should be, though.
Yeah,
that's where they got
propositioned for a 3-way.
I'm sure they fucking and they probably both loved it. Honestly,
yeah.
That they should be there to figure out their stuff.
Ashley and her sister talked to Jonathan and say, Ashley sent $1,000. Where did Manuel send it? And Jonathan says, maybe to his ex-girlfriend. Jonathan, a total turncoat. She talks to Manuel and says, tell me the truth about the money. And he says, I'm leaving, which means he'll leave. He'll come home. They'll bang it out. It'll be fine. Ed, being Ed, tells Liz, I just want you to get your furniture out of here. And Liz's mom says, you should have been more of a man. And he says, maybe you should do better raising your daughter. And mom says, he's going to die a very sad and lonely old man. And Liz yells, I hate you.
Dear God.
Okay. Mahmoud says to Nicole, you came home at 2 a.m. drunk and you denied it. And then when I asked to see your phone, you freaked out. And again, in another country, he says, I would like a divorce, which he has said now 12 times, and he's been there 2 days. Jasmine asked Gino if he submitted the paperwork for her permanent residency, and she says he just wants to control me. He thinks when I get my green card, I will leave him because she will. Yeah. And they have another fight. Then we see Angela and Michael. Now, we haven't seen Angela and Michael this whole season because there's lots of controversy with those two. So they have really shortened what they're doing with them. But they fight over the cell phone, which is what they're always fighting over, the phone. And she says, I think Michael is using my phone to help Nigerians scam other women. That would be on brand for both of them. And that's the end. And I want to say again to you, I appreciate you because not only did you watch a 2-hour show, but then you turned around and watched Love in Paradise, which is another 1-hour show. And of the two, if you had to choose, which one would you choose?
Oh God, I don't even know. That's like
Love in Paradise. You've got the old guy that's got the young, hot.
I can't know. That was worse. I'd rather deal with them in their one scene where they're fighting than that Paradise stuff.
Really?
That was too much for me.
With the trans woman,
it was too much wackiness. I was like,
well, he's 61 and she's 25, so there's your first problem.
I can't deal with that. Like that is upsetting to me.
Chris, I love you so much. Tell everybody where they can find out more about you and your podcast.
You can find me at the Chris DeRosa, and you can find my show Fixing Famous People anywhere you find podcasts. And it's at Fixing Famous People on Instagram. The show is about basically me and my co-host Dominic Pipo. We're 2 veteran reality television producers. We pick a client every week, and they are someone that needs to be fixed. Someone that's in the PR hot water. Whether that be Lizzo, that be Cody Brown, whether that be my episode with you, which was what's his name? Todd Chrisley. Mm-hmm. Someone in jail, someone in a PR stunt that went wrong. And my co-host and I pitch ideas for them to get out of the hot water, and our guest picks a winner, and it's very fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everybody, I was on that podcast. It was very, very good. And there was I won't tell you what, but there was a aha moment.
An unprecedented moment happened with you. Absolutely. Yeah. That everyone should go listen to.
Everyone
and we need to have you back very soon to fix some other people, because
I'd love to fix all the people I can. I like to spread my knowledge. Pick a TLC person. Yeah. I can fix all of them.
We might need to do Ed. I don't know if he's famous enough, but we'll figure something out.
Everybody please follow me over on the Instagram at Pink Shade Pod. And later on this week, I've got our mutual friend Kate Casey coming to talk Bravo. We'll be talking about a show that you're a producer on, Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Have you been hearing my voice in the episodes?
I sure have. I sure have.
Enjoy.
But we can't talk about it because you're a producer on that show.
No, I can't, sadly. I'm sorry. But I hope everyone likes it, and please everyone watch.
Everyone watch. Okay, bye, Chris.
Bye.